Welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Glad to be back.
So today's mission, it's pretty laser focused. We're going to try and distill the core principle for achieving truly extraordinary success.
Right. And I think this is for anyone out there who just feels overwhelmed by all the complexity.
Exactly. This deep dive is basically your shortcut to some radical simplicity.
And we're going to start in a pretty surprising place for wisdom. A comedy from 1991, City Slickers.
Oh, I love that film. There's that one scene with Jack Palance as Curly, the old cowboy.
That's the one. It's this perfect moment where he gives one single piece of advice.
He just holds up one finger.
One finger.
Yeah.
And he says to Billy Crystal's character, one thing, a single thing. Concentrate on that, and the rest doesn't matter.
It's so simple, but it really hits you, doesn't it?
It does, because I think it confirms something we already know deep down. If you try to do everything, you end up doing nothing well. There's an old Russian proverb about it.
What's that?
If you chase two rabbits at the same time, you will catch neither.
And that's really the core thesis we're getting into today. That to get extraordinary results, you have to focus your time, your energy on just one thing.
Yep. So we're going to break down the mechanics of that focus, then dismantle the myths that get in our way.
And then give you the tool, the actual questions and practices to find and execute on your one thing every single day.
Let's get into it.
So where do we start? The physics of it.
I think so. Let's unpack the physics of achievement. Because, when people think about success, their first instinct is to add more things.
More hours, more tasks, more projects.
Exactly. More. But the sources we looked at are clear that true greatness actually comes from subtraction.
Subtraction. That makes sense because you only have so much time and energy, right?
It's a finite resource.
Mm-hmm.
If you spread it thin, you get a diluted impact. But if you want your achievements to really add up, to grow exponentially, you had to do fewer things with more focus.
Okay, so how do we prove that? Is there a good analogy for it?
There's a perfect one, and it's backed by actual physics. It's the domino analogy.
I think I've heard of this.
It comes from a physicist, Lorne Whitehead, who proved back in 1983 that a single domino can knock down another domino that is 50% larger than itself.
Wait, 50%? So not just one of the same size, but one that's significantly bigger.
Significantly bigger. And if we can mathematically prove that, tiny actions can lead to these world-changing results.
Then why aren't we all doing it every single day?
Because the scale of it is just so hard to wrap your head around. I mean, the growth potential is it's staggering.
Okay, so paint me a picture. How staggering are we talking?
Well, let's say you start with a tiny domino, maybe 2 inches tall, and you just let that chain reaction go.
Okay.
By the 18th domino in that chain, you've just knocked over a piece the size of the Tower of Pisa.
Wow, okay.
By the 23rd, the domino is bigger than the Eiffel Tower. And it gets crazier.
How much crazier?
If you could continue that chain out to the 57th domino, that single piece would nearly stretch from the Earth to the moon.
That's insane. And that's the power of exponential growth.
That's it. It's the mechanical reality of what's called sequential success. The key word there is sequential, right? Not simultaneous.
You're not trying to push 50 dominoes at once. You're lining them all up.
And then putting all of your energy into that very first one, your one thing. That's what starts the chain reaction.
And you can see this pattern in business, can't you?
Oh, absolutely. Think about it. KFC wasn't trying to do a million things. It had one secret recipe.
Right. And Intel.
Intel focused almost obsessively on microprocessors. That was their domino. Google's was search, which then, made their advertising business even possible.
And it's the same for people, too. You see it with someone like Bill Gates.
Totally. His first relentless focus was computer programming. That built Microsoft.
And once that domino fell, it gave him the leverage to pivot to something else.
Right. And now his focus, through the Gates Foundation, has been on one of the most high-impact things for global health, vaccines. The focus changed, but the intensity of that one-thing approach, that stayed the same.
Okay, so the concept itself, this power of singularity, it's simple to say, but it's actually really, really hard to do.
It is. I think it's because we've all grown up with these common myths about success that are actively fighting against this kind of focus.
We have to debunk those first, don't we?
We have to. Before you can build, you have to clear the land. And the first roadblock, lie number 1, is the idea that everything matters equally.
The classic to-do list problem. You write down 20 things and they all feel equally urgent.
And nature itself just proves this isn't true. I mean, we have the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. It shows up everywhere.
That 20% of your effort will get you 80% of your results, but this philosophy takes that even further.
Way further. You don't just stop at the 20%. The real insight is to take that remaining 20% and apply the 80-20 rule to it.
So you find the 20% of the 20%.
And then the 20% of that, and you just keep going. You keep drilling down until you're left with one single essential task. That's your first domino.
That completely changes how you plan your day. You go from having a long, passive to-do list,
Which is really just an inventory of good intentions.
to a short, powerful success list built around that one priority.
And if that selective priority is the key, then the thing that threatens it the most is the next lie, lie number 2, multitasking.
Oh, this one has been glorified for decades, hasn't it? The ability to juggle a million things.
It sounds so productive, but it's really just a recipe for wasted energy. We have to define it properly, though. Multitasking isn't doing two things at once.
It's just task switching, right? Jumping back and forth really fast. And that has a huge cognitive cost.
A proven cost. There was a famous Stanford study back in 2009 by Clifford Nass. He found that chronic multitaskers were, and this is a quote, mediocre at everything.
Mediocre at everything. Ouch.
Yeah. They were easily distracted. They were drawn to things that were irrelevant. And the irony is they thought they were amazing at it.
And the actual time lost is just staggering. I've seen estimates that we lose almost a third, like 28% of a normal workday.
Just to task switching. Just the time it takes to get distracted and then try to get back on track. Multitasking doesn't save time. It's a thief.
Which moves us to line number 3. The idea that you need a disciplined life to be successful.
Right. This idea that you have to be this perfect disciplined machine every minute of every day, it just sounds exhausting. And frankly, impossible.
But it's also not true, which is the good news.
Not at all.
Yeah.
You don't need to be disciplined all the time. You just need selective discipline.
Just enough to do what?
Just enough discipline to build the right habit. And once the habit is built, it takes over. It runs on autopilot.
The effort to maintain it is almost nothing compared to the effort it took to start it.
Exactly. And knowing this changes how we think about the early stages of building a habit. So many people think it takes 21 days.
Right, that's the number everyone throws around.
But that's a myth. Research from University College London found it takes, on average, 66 days for a new behavior to become automatic.
66? So more than 2 months. That changes things. It means you need to commit to 2 full months of focus before you can expect it to feel easy.
And that selective discipline has a clear finish line, which brings us to the resource that powers it, willpower. And line number 4 is that willpower is always available.
We treat it like it's a personality trait, don't we? But it's not. It's more like a phone battery.
That's the perfect analogy. It drains. We saw the power of it with the famous marshmallow test, right? Delayed gratification is pure willpower.
But what drains it?
Yeah.
What uses up the battery?
Decision-making. Every time you have to make a choice or resist a temptation, you burn through that cognitive fuel.
Is there a study that shows that?
A great one. They asked students to memorize a 7-digit number, a simple mental task. And those students chose chocolate cake over a healthier option twice as often as students who only had to memorize a 2-digit number.
So that little bit of extra mental load was enough to drain their willpower.
Immediately. And the real-world consequences are, well, they're kind of scary. A study on parole judges showed they granted parole about 65% of the time right after a break.
When they were fresh.
Right. But by the end of the day, when they were tired from making decisions, that rate dropped to almost 0.
Wow. So when your willpower is low, you just default to no.
The system defaults to the safe choice. The lesson is you have to protect your willpower. Do your one thing first thing in the morning when your battery is full.
Okay, let's get to the last big myth, line number 5. A balanced life. This is a tough one. If success requires this intense, singular focus, isn't this philosophy just telling people to neglect everything else for work?
That's the challenge, right? And the answer here is a bit nuanced. The idea is that balance isn't a state you achieve, it's an ongoing act of balancing.
Like walking on a tightrope.
Exactly. To get extraordinary results at work, you have to accept long periods of imbalance. You have to go to the extremes.
So how do you do that without letting your whole life fall apart?
You use this powerful analogy from the author James Patterson. He says work is a rubber ball. If you drop it, it bounces back.
Yeah.
But family, health, friends, integrity, those are glass balls. If you drop one of them, it cracks. Maybe it even chatters.
So you have to constantly, vigilantly guard the glass balls. That's where your balancing act has to be rigid. But you can let the rubber ball.
Go to the extremes. You can chase greatness with that one, knowing the others are protected.
Okay, so once we've cleared away all these lies, the path forward gets a lot clearer.
It becomes remarkably straightforward.
Yeah.
And it all starts with one tool, the most powerful habit you can build. It's called the focusing question.
This is the engine of the whole system. And you have to memorize it, ask it all the time.
What is the one thing I can do?
Such that by doing it,
Everything else will be easier or unnecessary.
the way that question is worded is so specific. It's not just what's the most important thing.
No, it's asking for the catalytic thing, the one action that starts the domino chain, the one that simplifies or even eliminates all the other tasks down the line,
And what's brilliant about it is how it connects your big picture purpose
where you're going in life.
with your immediate priority, what you need to do right now.
And you bridge that gap using a technique called goal setting for the now. You can think of it like a set of Russian dolls.
You start with the biggest one, the long-term goal.
Right. You ask, what is my one thing for someday?
And then you nest the question inside that. Based on that someday goal, what's my one thing for the next 5 years?
And based on that 5-year goal, what's my one thing for this year? And then this month, this week, today.
And finally, right now.
That systematic alignment makes sure that the thing you're doing at this very moment is the single most important step toward your ultimate goal.
But knowing your one thing is just an intellectual exercise if you don't actually do it.
Which is why the next step is about commitment. It's about time blocking. You have to carve out and protect the time for that priority.
And the order you block your time is, well, it's kind of counterintuitive.
It is. So there are 3 essential blocks. First, you block time for time off.
You plan your vacations first.
You plan your vacations and free time first. Successful people see their work as the thing that happens in between their time off. That's how you protect the glass balls.
Okay, so after time off, what's second?
Second, you block time for the one thing. And we're not talking about 30 minutes. To achieve mastery, to really push that big domino, you need a minimum of 4 hours every day, protected.
4 hours, that's a serious commitment. And the third block?
Third is your planning time, a weekly block where you reflect, you review your goals, and you realign the dominoes for the week ahead.
It's all about that consistency, isn't it? It reminds me of the Jerry Seinfeld strategy for writing jokes.
Well, tell me.
His only goal was to write every single day. And he'd get a big wall calendar and put a big red X over each day he did it.
And the goal was just.
Don't break the chain. That simple visual is all about keeping the focus rigid.
But that focus is fragile. It's so easy to lose it.
So easy. There was this famous study, the Good Samaritan experiment.
Right, with the seminary students. They were told to rush across campus to give a lecture on the parable of the Good Samaritan.
And on their way, the researchers placed a person who was clearly in distress right in their path.
And 90% of the rushing students just walked right by.
They didn't even stop. They were so focused on the task of getting to the lecture that they completely lost sight of their actual purpose. And if they can lose focus, anybody can.
Which is why we have to guard our productivity blocks against what the sources call the 4 thieves. Thief number 1, the inability to say no.
This is a big one for me. When you say yes to one thing, you're automatically saying no to thousands of other things.
Steve Jobs said it perfectly. Focusing is saying no. If you say yes to every request, you're not actually focused on anything important.
Okay, so what's thief number 2?
The fear of chaos. And this is a huge mental block for people.
Meaning what?
Meaning, if you focus intensely on your one priority, other things will get neglected. There will be piles of paper. There will be unanswered emails. There will be mess.
And you have to be okay with that.
You have to learn to tolerate that temporary chaos because it's the inevitable side effect of prioritizing greatness.
Thief number 3 is a silent one. Bad health habits.
It's the silent thief of productivity. You can know your one thing, you can block the time, but if you show up with no energy, it's all for nothing.
So you have to build an energy plan.
A daily plan. You have to front load your day with energy-building habits. Spiritual energy, like meditation. Physical energy, good food, sleep, movement. Emotional energy from being with loved ones. And mental energy from planning.
It's about showing up with a full battery. And the final thief, number 4.
An unsupportive environment. This is critical. Your behavior, your health, even your level of achievement. It's all highly contagious.
So if the people and places around you are negative or unfocused,
They will passively sabotage your progress. You have to actively curate your environment, surround yourself with people, and set up spaces that support your one thing. You are the architect of your own ecosystem.
So when we put this all together, what does it mean for you, the listener?
It means that extraordinary results, they aren't about luck. They're not even mostly about talent.
Yeah.
They are the direct product of applying your intention, which is your purpose,
And your priority, which is the one thing.
to drive consistent, focused productivity.
So the most powerful thing you can do right now is maybe adopt this live big mindset.
Yeah, I love this. Stop asking what your current actions are going to get you. Instead, take your biggest goal, your career, your health, whatever it is, and multiply it by 2, by 10, by 20.
A big, uncomfortable number. And then you have to ask yourself the really hard question.
Will my current actions get me there?
And if the answer is no, you have to find a new path. You have to find a new, bigger, more potent one thing.
Because the journey to the biggest possible life you can imagine, it has to start small. It has to start simple.
With that single first domino.
You find it, and you commit all your energy to pushing it over.
Don't just settle for what you think your limit is right now. You know, as the saying goes, only those who risk going too far can possibly find out how far they can go.
Start simple. Start now.